bears whose burden? Why set up tents? And where do we camp? Who vomited blood and died for whom? Who will keep track of this all? Some live on with rotten minds, yet the roses will remain fresh. Who bears whose burden? These are the lyrics of a decades-old famous Marathi song, Kunaच्या खांद्यावर कुणाचे ओझे, written by Arati Prabhu and set to music by Hridaynath Mangeshkar. The mesmerizing words and music and the timeless truth that the song conveys appeals to listeners even today. Its lyrics aptly represent the poetic mind of its writer, Arati Prabhu. This perceptive poet appreciates nature's beauty. It is a source of joy to his sensitive mind, but at the same time, he is conscious of the pain, injustice, and meaninglessness of life. These conflicting emotions surge in his mind and overflow in his poetry. Arati Prabhu or Chintamani Triambak Khanolkar was an extremely gifted literature who put his stamp on the Marathi literature. He created unforgettable works in the fields of fiction, drama, and poetry. We discussed his novel Kondura in the 63rd episode of Granthyatra and his play Ek Shunya Bajirao in the 66th episode of Granthyatra. Today, in the 80th episode of Granthyatra, we are going to discuss his collection of poetry, Nakshatranche Dene, or The Gift of Stars. A warm welcome to all the viewers. Khanolkar was born in the year 1930 at a place called Baglanchi Rai in Vengurla block of Maharashtra. He completed his schooling from Vengurle, Sawantwadi and Mumbai. Initially, he helped his mother run a restaurant in Konkan. Later, he worked as a staff artist at the All India Radio in Mumbai for some months and in the end devoted his life to writing. He wrote poetry under the pen name Arati Prabhu and published collections such as Zogwa and Divelagan. His collection Nakshatranche Dene was published in 1975. The poems in this collection provide glimpses of his ever-alert mind. It absorbs every minute perception, and those experiences lead to a tumult of emotions in his mind. At the same time, an indifferent corner of his mind thinks about those experiences objectively. His poetry flows from the confluence of these two streams. The realm from where his poetry emerges is so subtle that at times he himself is worried that those moments of inspiration may slip by. He says, "Despite being close to my poetry, I maintain a distance from her. When I touch her with apprehension, her wild, innocent expressions get muddied. I gaze at my poetry as I keep her at a distance like a burning lamp." How could such an intense poet not be touched by love? The love expressed in his poems is profound and arises from a deep union of two minds. He writes, "Now that you have entered my life at this difficult turning, you say you will haunt me even from the pyre. Death is not beautiful, and even if it was, may it not touch you. I want you in the silence that follows the word." Like his poetry, his lover too is ever fresh and presents herself in novel forms. "You were thus and you were such. You are the one with blossoming arms. Here you are Radha and there the Eve, a fragrant bud of love." Love in Arati Prabhu's poetry is overpowering. It overflows the restraints of mind. "The blade dances and eyes are not still. How do I gaze at the twinkling star? The noise has stilled, wind has lost force. My mind is free like spilled mercury." The poet is attracted to this feeling of unrestrained love, but at the same time is aware of the loss that accompanies it. "Do not come again with the tender sun. Do not come again with fragrance of buds. Do not go again at vulnerable dusk. Do not go with longing in the breath." See how he describes the union of two souls in another poem. "Two streams unite in this flow, you and me. The flood grows, bodies are no longer ours. Two? No, We are one, void in fact. Where are you and where am I? Whom do I call as you? Arati Prabhu is also mesmerized by the beauty of nature. Rain months will flourish, mirrors can hardly contain her beauty. The creeper grows like a melody, her fragrance growing dense. That is how he describes the beauty of his native Konkan. Every seed sowed contains a happy and alive popcorn. He feels this eternal life force in nature. All that is needed to experience it is a little warmth of heart, he feels. His mind sways with the joyful celebration of nature's constituents. Like the touch of a wind, it blooms, the touch in the corners of rooms. Any wind, even that of a superfast train, any touch, even of our own hands and feet. Tunes, tumults of color, oh colors, colors, those before and after showers. But sometimes nature also reminds him of man's existential predicament. In his poem An Evening, he writes, "Parched desolation in pigeon's eyes, yet moist, scarlet, slow, yet the humming. With a strange flapping of wings, these creatures rest in their places." His contemplative mind is then stormed with questions. For whom do eyes fill with this hot water? For whom does the creek flow in silent woods? For whom do fruits fill with juice year by year? For whom does this life ebb by the moment? The melancholy that tormented Western poets like Wordsworth and Keats sometimes also darkens Arati Prabhu's mind. Yet, a corner of his mind stays aloof to observe even this experience. In his poem Melancholy, he writes, "She arrives and leaves. At times she brings buds, but wants flowers when leaving. What is this way of coming? She sings the song of Eve. When departing, she returns, comes from afar just to leave. Strange is her coming. She dissolves but pricks. She arrives and leaves." This despondency is not always without a reason. Sometimes it is the result of some bitter experience or the death of a loved one. In one poem, Arati Prabhu says, "A straight line suddenly injured, it bent, stopped, was confused. It's true that it doesn't take long to die. He was alive the day before, yesterday, even today at dusk. But that adornment is gone. The house is sodden with rain." When Khanolkar's poetic mind observes his surroundings with objectivity, his poems become a dialogue either with the readers or with himself. In one poem, he says, "Now again this old man. He's a total greybeard. Hasn't turned wise at all. Just grown straight old. I asked, 'Where are you going?' He said, 'To the graveyard.' 'As you wish,' said I. 'But I don't think he'll go to the graveyard.' He turned the corner and disappeared. I don't think one about to die would turn the corner." But sometimes this objectivity, this carefree attitude wanes and he becomes restless. He then writes, "At the heart of this skin for years now is anchored a song. Yet how does one go about doing business?" When describing the blows to the mind by incidents in the practical world, he writes, "Giver is not in his senses, receiver has no mind. No one counts blows to the glass so thin." Sometimes an incident forces him to examine his own life. "Wait, the hearse passes. Let me pick up my own life with great humility on my shoulders and be the pallbearer. The hearse passes, come, let's try and offer our flowers." And then he begins to feel the worthlessness of life. What did I achieve raising a family? Just fathered babies? What to learn and what to teach? Sneezing nose, yawning mouth, and slippers on feet. But something soon begins to prick his mind, and a new poem is born. Writing about this process, he says, Again and again, tight, tight, compressing myself, I stand, as if a flock sitting on a tree with folded wings. A new bud is pricking inside because a new thorn is emerging on a twig. Within a year after the publication of his collection Gift of Stars, Khanolkar died at the young age of 46. Did he have any premonitions of his impending death when he was writing poems collected in this volume? Why did the dense mesh move? Why do the lamps pale? I hear the trembling whistle and the frost my body scales. The bolt of lightning strikes and the woods are aflame. My ghost then from the past life came and we met. Why doesn't the horizon split for once? All I hear is Dirda and Dirda forever. In yet another poem he writes, leaves fill with the brook's melody. Why tears, dear? Come, let's hold hands. Sun has set and the waters deep. The distant wild bird now arrives. At times his mind is grasped by the feeling that he has nothing left to give away. The lamp that you lit, that too now dims. In the end, floods arrive and the waters rise. Take the flowers that remain. What else can I give? This flow has taken away all that was yours and mine. But he is not sad for the knowledge that his life might be coming to an end. Neither end nor beginning, no sorrow or joy. The boat sailed then and it sails now. Just as I am not alone, I am not a pair. I am not my guest, nor my own master. Neither end nor beginning, no sorrow or joy. The boat sailed then, and it sails now. At this stage, did Arati Prabhu experience some perceptions coming from beyond life? He writes, this dusk, or a line by some poet in a dense, nameless garden, or from the song of death from past birth, look, the lonely faraway lamp. His mind tries to explore that world beyond. In his poem Presentiment, Arati Prabhu writes, the one passing through evening light like the evening light, crimson presentiment near the ambiguous. Often the sun shines through the seen and the unseen, like sunset, a veil slowly covers the eyes. Or, everything turning dark blue on some star-like gesture from afar, or finding melody of the vast void with a chance touch of strings. Only then will I envy myself when I'd leave home for the distant land. To tell us more about the poetry of this gifted poet, we have with us today Dr. Madhavi Vaidya, who has done extensive research on the works of C.T. Khanolkar.
आरती प्रभू म्हणजे चिंतन खानोलकर यांनी आपली कविता आधी पुष्पकुमार या नावाने लिहिली शालेय जीवनामध्ये आणि त्यानंतर त्यांनी आरती प्रभू हे नाव घेतलं. आरती प्रभूंची कविता म्हणजे वेदनांची गाणी. त्यांच्या काव्याची किंवा संबंध साहित्याची आवडती वेळ ही संध्याकाळ आणि ठेका मन उसकटवून टाकणारा. आरती प्रभूंनी आर्त अशी वेदनेची गाणी लिहिली हे तर खरंच, पण त्यांच्या सर्व साहित्याच्या केंद्रस्थानी त्यांची कविता होती. ते प्रथमतः कवी होते आणि मग कथाकार, कादंबरीकार, नाटककार असे होते असं म्हणावंसं वाटतं. आरती प्रभूंचे 3 कविता संग्रह आहेत, जोगवा, दिवे लागण आणि नक्षत्रांचे देणं. जोगवामध्ये त्यांनी विशुद्ध निसर्ग कविता लिहिलेली दिसते. अर्थात दुःख हे केंद्रीभूत आहेच त्या संग्रहात सुद्धा. दिवे लागणमध्ये मृत्यूच्या दाट सावटाखालची कविता ही लिहिली गेली आहे आणि नक्षत्रांचे देणेमध्ये त्यांच्या प्रतिभेचा एक परिपक्व आविष्कार आपल्याला दिसून येतो. तर अशी ही कविता नक्षत्रांचे देणेमध्ये जरा वेगळं वळण घेऊ पाहत होती. पण अचानक त्यांच्यावर काळानं घाव घातला आणि आरती प्रभू हे जग सोडून गेले. एक अनाम पक्षी थोडाच वेळ वृक्षाच्या फांदीवर बसला, वेदनेची गाणी गायला आणि अनंतात विलीन झाला. आरती प्रभूंच्या शेवटच्या ओळी आहेत: अखेरच्या वळणावर यावा मंद सुगंधी असा फुलोरा, थकले पाऊल सहज उठावे आणि सरावा प्रवास सारा. पण ही नवी दिशा नक्षत्रांचे देणेमधली दाखवायलाच त्यांना अवसर मिळाला नाही. तो जर अवसर मिळाला असता तर आरती प्रभूंची आणखीन काहीतरी वेगळ्या वाटेने जाणारी कविता आपल्या हातात आली असती. पण तसं व्हायचं नव्हतं. असो, पण त्यांच्या अम्लान अशा प्रतिभेला ह्या निमित्ताने वंदन करावंसं वाटतं. आणि आरती प्रभूंच्या नक्षत्रांचं देणं देऊन जी कविता गेली त्या प्रतिभेलाही वंदन करावंसं वाटतं.
The collection Nakshatranche Dene received the Sahitya Academy Award in 1978. Do read the poems in this collection that illuminate moments of discrepancy in life like a bolt of lightning. We shall meet again in the next episode of Granthyatra to discuss a play having two powerful characters. Until then, keep reading.